everyone, welcome to this week's DIY. It is me, Madison, and I know y'all see the new merch. That's right, we have new Flash News merch in all our stores in this beautiful periwinkle color, and I absolutely love it. You can come to our Detroit store and pick it up right in the front. We have all the sizes you would ever need. I highly recommend it. All right, so for this week's DIY, we are again celebrating our new summer menu, so we're gonna be rolling out the lemonade bouquet. Now the lemonade bouquet is very reminiscent of lemonade and summer and coolness and niceness. It has bright yellow, bright pinks, a splash of purple into it, and it's just very fun and refreshing, if you will. Now let's go through the flowers. So for the first one we have these beautiful snapdragon yellows. You should have a couple of those. I love them. They're a very bright yellow. They're not buttery yellow. They're bright yellow. Very much lemonade yellow is what I would say, or lemon yellow. We also have these Lysianthus cream. So these are these right here. Beautiful, beautiful. We also have these Alstromera in a really pretty pink. So this can bring on the strawberry lemonade or the pink lemonade if you're a pink lemonade fan. We have these beautiful roses. They're called Hermosa roses, and I love them so much because they have such a soft pink color. And they're not hot pink, and they're not baby pink. They're a beautiful mauvey pink that's right in the middle. Absolutely gorgeous. They're a single petal rose, so they don't have a lot of petal count to them, but they do open up really big and very beautiful. So you should have a few of those. We have these lavender cushion pomps right here. Absolutely beautiful. Cushion pomps are just little tiny little mums that are kind of arranged in a spray. So think of things like spray roses. This is the mum version of that. And then for our greenery, we have the classic leather leaf, also known as baker. This is just a type of fern. Its difference is there's people sometimes fight if it's fancy fern or if it's leather leaf. Leather leaf is a bit more shiny. Baker is a bit more dull looking and a bit more feathery. This one's a bit more sturdy is how I remember it. And then we have the classic tree fern. Tree fern is just another type of fern. It's very grassy, very plumy is what I like to say, and it adds a lot of texture to your bouquets. All right, so let's get started. So as always, first thing we're gonna do is we are going to break down our greenery. So I'm gonna break down our leather leaf first, actually. So I'm gonna go down the stem and I'm gonna split it in half. I'm gonna give it a fresh cut, and I'm gonna put it right there towards the front. And then I'm gonna use this piece still, and I'm gonna trim off all of my leaves. All my leaves, not all of them, but you know, the ones that are gonna be in the water. And now I have two pieces. And I'm just gonna do the same thing to this piece as well. I'm gonna cut it down the middle. Use this piece, cut it a little shorter. I'm gonna keep it a little lower too, just so it really sits in there, and then I can use it as a grid as well, which is really nice. And then I'm gonna take off those pieces, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna fill my vase out with it. And then for this piece, I'm gonna make it a little shorter, just so I can have it a little bit more deeper in there and get the angles I want. Perfect. See, and just with two pieces of leather leaf, I now have a vase that is full of greenery. Magical, if you will. All right, so now what we're gonna do is the same thing to this tree fern. So I'm gonna split it into two pieces. I'm gonna split one piece right here. Keep this piece a little longer so we can have some dimension. Then I'm gonna take the bottom leaves off of this one, and then I'm gonna tuck this one a little bit more towards the bottom so we have some filling going on. And then I can use these tiny little pieces too, and I'm gonna shove them in the back and in the front. So then again, we're having some dimension. All right, beautiful. And then again, I have a few more pieces of tree fern, so I'm gonna make sure I'm splitting that up beautifully, tucking some pieces in the front, tucking some pieces in the back, the whole shebang. Beautiful. And as I'm doing this, I'm making sure if there's any pieces of greenery trying to hop out my bowl, I'm putting them back in there and making sure they're crossing each other so we got that good mechanical base to our arrangement. Now I'm gonna go backwards, and I'm gonna put a few of my Alstro in just because I really want to fill out my base and kind of map out what I'm gonna do next. So I'm gonna take off these bottom leaves. And I'm gonna cut this one a little shorter, and I'm gonna put this one right here in the front. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with this astro. I'm gonna take off some of its leaves, just because they get a little distracting from the flower. I'm gonna cut it a little lower, and then I'm gonna put it diagonal from it, but more in the back. Just so we're making sure that we're designing a 360 beauty. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my linears. So my linear in this is going to be my snapdragons. Remember, linears are things that grow your arrangement. They help frame your bouquet and kind of build out the parameters of what you want things to look like. So we're gonna do that with these beautiful snapdragons. Now, in all my snapdragons, some of them are looking a little topsy-turvy, a little curvy, so we're gonna follow their gestures really well. So for this one, I think I'm gonna go a little shorter, just a little. And then I'm gonna make sure their blooms are facing forward, so we have a full looking vase. And then we'll put it right there. Gorgeous. And then for this one's a perfect snapdragon. Like, this is just like the perfect snapdragon. So we're gonna take off all of those leaves right there. And then I'm gonna cut it a little shorter, maybe a little longer. Actually, I'm gonna keep this one a little longer since it's perfect. And I'm gonna keep it a little high up, just so we can see all of those beautiful blooms. I'm gonna cut it a little shorter, because that was a little too tall. And again, I'm gonna make sure I'm going through the center of my vase so that the mechanics are holding my arrangement together. You wanna make sure that things aren't flapping around and trying to jump out. So you wanna make sure when you pierce something inside of your arrangement, you're going through that middle mechanical base that we're building upon each other. Think of it as like making your own grid. And the more things you put in there, the stronger it's gonna get. So if you're feeling like, nah, everything's moving, give it time, just keep going. Keep going. For this one, I'm gonna move this one a little bit more towards the back, and then I'm gonna shove that one in my mechanics, kind of in front of it, so it holds that shape that I just built. And see that? These things, they're not moving. And that's how you know you did a good job. All right, next we're gonna go in with our beautiful Hermosa roses. I'm gonna take off these leaves. Watch out for thorns, because these have some pretty nasty thorns on them. But every rose has its thorn, doesn't it? And then we're gonna spin these out. So you're gonna cut it, hold it upside down, and we're just gonna do a nice spin. Now remember, when you're spinning out your roses, you don't wanna do that, because that's not gonna build enough momentum to actually get them to spin out. You wanna do long strides, just like this. There we go. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off these bottom petals, because those are the guard petals. And even though they're a pretty color, they're just gonna die first. And then we're gonna reflex this rose. So I'm gonna take the petals and I'm just gonna slightly flip them inside out. Flip, flip, flip. And when I'm flipping them like this, it's gonna create this beautifully open look that just looks like the petal just unfolded in front of you. All right, so now we're gonna go on to our next one. Again, I'm gonna spin this one out a little bit. I'm gonna take off any petals that look a little crazy, like this one. Go into its center, and we're gonna do just a little reflex on these. Now, our Hermosa roses don't really have a high petal count, so you can't really reflex a lot of them. Hashtag sad, but like, it's okay. You can still reflex quite a few layers of them and still get that beautiful reflex look. All right. I'm gonna put this one a little towards the back. Now, when you're building your arrangement, make sure that you're looking at it as you go to make sure you like what's going on. I like what's going on. And then for this next one, I think I'm gonna leave it a little shorter. I don't know if I'm gonna reflex this one. I'm just gonna lightly spin it out, just so this one can be a little bit more deeper inset and it doesn't look too jumbled when I put it in there. Beautiful. And I'm gonna fix this one and really get it through my mechanics so that it stands up a little better. Gorgeous, love, love. All right, now we're gonna go in with our cushion pomp. So cushion pomps come in like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna trim all of those bottom ones off, all those tiny little buds. I'm also gonna trim off all the ones that are broken, trim off any leaves, just so we can have a really nice and clean look. Then I'm gonna cut this one a little shorter, just a little. And then I'm gonna put this one right here in the center, deep, so we can fill in our bottom. All right. We have a few more of these, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna trim off all of those leaves. We're also gonna trim off this middle stem that sticks out. When you're farming sometimes, a lot of growers, they'll cut the middle top stem just so that the blooms the plant puts more energy in like branching out and putting more into the blooms. So like you'll see like a little nub in the middle that always bothers me when I'm like designing. So I like cut it off. So you can cut that off right there. Again, you want clean stems because if leaves go in the water, your stuff is just gonna die quicker. And that is #set. All right, so I'm gonna put this one again in the middle, a little deeper, just so we can have like a cluster going on right there. And then for this last one, I'm really gonna piece it up and put it in a lot of different places. I'm gonna put this one right here at the front. I'm gonna clean this one off a little bit. This one has a lot of leaves on it. Make sure you're taking all those leaves off. We don't want any of that getting in our water, and it's just distracting to the bloom. You want to see the bloom's beautiful face. I think I'm gonna put this one a little bit more towards the back, just so we have some stuff going on in the back. Remember, this is 360, so you don't want the back to look insane, is what I said. All right, now we're gonna go in with our Lysianthus. So Lysianthus comes grown in all these little pieces. So we're gonna split them up just like that. This bloom right here is beautiful. So I'm gonna take these little smaller blooms off, and then I'm gonna blow this open a little bit. Oh, that's such a beautiful soft yellow. Absolutely love it. And then we're gonna put that one right here. Now remember, I'm tall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that like this is looking good from like head on, because I'm tall and I'm looking down at this all the time. So make sure that you're looking at your vase from different angles, giving it a little whirl around, making sure it's pretty. All right, and then I'm gonna keep this one a little taller, just so we have some like movement in our bouquet. We really want some, we want depth, and we want different height, like differentiation in height inside your bouquet, so it has dimension. That's the word I'm looking for. So make sure that you're putting things at different heights and really playing with like, just making sure it's not too flat is what I would say. This could really look like a wall, and you never want to build a floral wall. You always want to have things split up and nicely. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have 2 more of our Alstro. So we're gonna put those in. Again, we're gonna get rid of any blooms that look a little womp-wompish, and we're gonna get rid of any of those extra leaves that are on there, just because they can be quite distracting sometimes. We're gonna put that one right there. Beautiful. And then we have one more. One more. All right, and now we're gonna do our final tweaks. Again, we're gonna make sure Our blooms are facing the ways where they look the best, showing their best sides to each other, making sure our reflexes look nice and neat and they don't look too crushed, which can happen. We're going to pull some things out, make sure our blooms are facing forward and we like the directions that we're showing out. I'm going to put this out a little bit just so we can see it a little more. Pull some things out. And then let's unreflex this just a little bit so we can see a little more of our arrangement. Just play with the petals a little bit. There we go. That's beautiful. And here we have the wonderful lemonade. Now the lemonade is just so reminiscent of the summer that is yet to come. We have this beautiful pink that's not too baby pink, but also not too reddish. It's like a beautiful mauve-y pink, which is gorgeous. We have touches of yellow that come through from our lemony snapdragons, but then we have a buttery soft yellow that comes from our Lysianthus cream. We have these lavender snapdragons that add a touch of purple that really bridge all of these colors together. And all in all, it is a beautiful arrangement. It's giving pink lemonade, is what I would say. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY. You know I love seeing what you guys do each week, so make sure you send pictures to Flowers for Dreams Detroit or at Flowers for Dreams on Instagram. And I will see you guys next week. All right? Bye.